Hey, today's Bible reading devotion is found in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 3 through 5. And Paul here, as he's closing this letter to the church of Thessalonica, he is exhorting them. He is encouraging them. He is just lifting them up, and he reminds them of some simple facts that we are find here in verses 3 through 5 of chapter 3. He says, first of all, that the Lord is faithful, that God is faithful in who he is and what he's done, that he is faithful to his church, and that he does not back away, that he is always present, and that he is involved because he is faithful. And because he is involved, he will give them strength. He will protect them from Satan. He and he alone is the one that can do that. We can't protect ourselves. He, though, is faithful in doing that. He is faithful in just wrapping his arms around us when we put our faith in him. He is faithful. And since he is faithful, Paul says, then we should have confidence in that he is going to protect us. And Paul is saying that he had confidence in who the church of Thessalonica was because they were continuing to do the will of God, that they continue to be obedient to what God had called them to do. And he says, when you continue to be obedient, when you continue to be a true follower, you continue to just be confident in following God, God's faithfulness will always show up. And in verse 5, and I think this is the key to this whole passage, he says, and may the Lord direct your hearts in love of God and the steadfastness of Christ. See, I think that the reason that we sometimes get complacent and become disobedient is because our hearts grow cold. Our heart and our love for God grows cold. And so Paul is saying, listen, I pray that you recognize that God's love is there, that he is faithful. And when you have that confidence to recognize that God is faithful, your love will never grow cold. Your love will always be present. And he says, I pray that your hearts be solidified in the love of God and in that steadfastness of Christ. I love the word steadfast, that it is always standing. It isn't movable either way, to the right or to the left, to the front, to the back, but it is firm. And I think that is such a great picture of who Jesus is, that he is the rock of our salvation, that he is steadfast. And Paul says, listen, church of Thessalonica, I pray that you realize that God's faithfulness is there, and that allows you to be steadfast in him. Because when you're steadfast in him, you will follow him. You will do the will of the Lord, and you will be reminded of the blessings that come with that. Today, I want to challenge you that you recognize and remember the love of God. That you truly just remember the overwhelming feeling when you first experience God's love, and be steadfast in following him. Have a wonderful day.